restraint, patience, the art of being still. With on-demand video, 2-day free shipping, and all human knowledge at our fingertips, it's no wonder we lose a bit more of these virtues, each and every day. We want it all, we want it now, and we want to be able to return it within 30 days if we're not 100% satisfied. In the age of the instant, what would you call someone who buys the Mavic Air 2 Fly More Combo and the Freewell ALLDAY 8-pack filter set, makes and posts a video about the drone, but waits a whole month to use the filters? A visionary? A maverick? A hero? But why would this luminary do such a thing? Perhaps because he wanted you, the viewer, to grasp all the Mavic Air 2 Fly More Combo could do before adding anything else to it, giving you the chance to learn your new drone while saving some cash. And if so, how would you repay someone who performed such a courageous and selfless act? Do we build statues in his honor? Do we sing songs about his adventures? A biopic, perhaps? No. Such a man would not want extravagant rewards for doing what he felt was right. All he would hope for is that you join him in his filmmaking endeavors, that you sacrifice the half-second required to subscribe to his channel and click the notification bell so you know each time a new video is posted. Occasionally letting him know how ridiculously handsome he is in the comment section wouldn't hurt either. But on with our journey. Let's buckle up and take a closer look at the Freewell ALLDAY 8-pack filter set. We'll find out what it can do, what it can't, and how to best use it so you get the most out of the Mavic Air 2. Don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty zen right now. Hello, I am Andre Correa, and this is AndreCorreaNow, a show about the art of filmmaking, the craft behind it, and the technologies to make it all possible. I'm always pleasantly surprised when companies give a product that I already bought new and exciting features. Additions that enhance my overall user experience and add to the tool's capabilities without costing me any more money are always welcomed. And that's what DJI did when they recently gave the Mavic Air 2 digital zoom capabilities and advanced gimbal control via a firmware update. But the limitation of a fixed aperture of f2.8 is still there, and that can be corrected with software. If you already own the Fly More Combo, you're familiar with the ND filters that come with it. But the often used values of NDs 4, 8, and 32 are sorely missing. And that's where adding this collection of filters from Freewell can truly help. Let me start by saying that the folks at Freewell must have a thing for magnets. I say this not only because this case is magnetized, which is a very nice touch, but also because many of the other filters use magnets instead of threads. A magnetic design indeed. In the case, you get 3 solid NDs, 4, 8, and 16. You get a circular polarizer, and 4 ND-PL filters with values of 8, 16, 32, and 64. I'm always preaching on the importance of a circular polarizer altar to all my friends who make movies and take pictures. Drone users are no exception. You get the sermon too. By blocking polarizing light from hitting the sensor, you can essentially lower the luminance of the sky in camera. You can also cut off a lot of reflection from windows, water, and leaves, making this filter set essential if you want to spy in a submerged glass submarine on a bright day while hanging from a tree. The hybrid filters in this kit have the benefit of both lowering the exposure on the entire image and cutting off polarized light. This is important because there is no way to stack filters in the Mavic Air 2 like you can on a normal lens, and sometimes only blocking polarizing light still leaves you with an overexposed image. Now you may be asking, why include the polarized and unpolarized versions of ND's 8 and 16? It seems a bit redundant. And why would you want to pay for redundancy if one is better than the other? Why even have NDs at all if the PLs, hybrids, are included? And what's going on with Season 4 of Stranger Things? When is that going to drop? Well, let's take a look at some footage of this test I did, not of Stranger Things. Here we're facing north. See the darker areas? Now notice what happens when I turn west. Then south. As I pan the camera, the saturation of the sky seems to change. That's a function of the physics behind how a polarizer filter works. It's more effective when you're perpendicular to the source, in this case, the sun. Notice the same spot in the sky when I go back to my starting position, pointing north. The science behind this can be a bit complicated, so Google it next time you have insomnia. Right now I need you awake so you can click the affiliate links below and continue to support the growth of this channel. Now let's look at the Mavic Air 2 pointing north with the circular polarizer from Freewell. Notice the darker areas again. You can minimize this by rotating the filter so less polarized light is cut off. But here, I wanted to get the maximum effect to illustrate this characteristic. Notice how due to the wide field of view, we can start to see the high saturation areas again as I move back north. Now look what happens when I zoom in. Let me recompose a bit. The high saturation areas are not so bad. I think this is a very nice image where the shadows are not crushed due to the high ND filtration. As I punch in further, the oversaturation is less noticeable. I always keep in mind that you can always land the drone and readjust the circular polarizer if you want less saturation. Now let's look at the same test with the AND16 polarized. Here I was able to get the shutter angle back to 1/5 due to the cut in exposure and the cut in polarization. The point I'm trying to make here is that the oversaturated areas in the image is not a defect of the filter. All circular polarizers will have this issue, but rotating the filter will minimize and often totally eliminate this effect. We can see how there's good balance between the sky and the ground, and how the colors, especially the leaves, have more saturation and less reflection. Kudos to DJI for adding zoom capabilities to the Mavic Air 2. Although I don't think the 2x zoom is usable, anything around 1.2x zoom is. Then finally, let's look at the AND16 filter with no polarization. Notice that the darker areas in the sky are not as prevalent now. However, in order to expose for the sky, I have to underexpose the ground a bit. This can be remedied if you mind the position of the sun and use it to your advantage, like here when I'm facing east and the sun's behind me. The moral of the story is, plan your shots and use the best filter for the scene you're filming and time of the day. And that's what makes this kit so helpful. It gives you a variety of options you can use to achieve the best results possible, hence the name, all day. There is color casting to variable degrees in each of the Freewell filters, but this is easily remedied by using the X-Ray color checker for video. Honestly, Mavic Air 2 and Freewell filters aside, this may be one of the most important tools in your kit when it comes to maximizing image quality, especially if you're not shooting RAW. The way I set white balance during pre-flight is kind of hacky. I set the Mavic Air 2 to auto white balance, I put the X-Ray color checker in front of the drone, and then I throw it back to manual balance, and I roll camera for a few seconds. When I'm in post, I'll do another white balance correction using the droplet tool in the clip. I then apply the correction value to all other clips where the filter was used. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but it works really well. You know what else works really well? Incorporating shameless self-promoting into an otherwise ad-free video in order to obtain financial compensation and notoriety for creative works. In other words, Thanks. So what did we learn today, boys and girls? Like people, filters aren't perfect. But unlike my deadbeat stepdad, the set from Freewell is solid, reliable, and they make something that's already great even better. The one thing I would change is the lettering on the solid NDs. They're very hard to read. I would also be careful when changing the filters because they can easily fall out of your hand. I don't know how to fix this. After all, it is a very small camera. You do get color casting to variable degrees, but again, you use the X-Rite color checker before you fly and get a little bit of video after so you can double check in post and plan your shots ahead and you should be fine. The truth is, there isn't a filter out there that's going to allow you to fly around without an objective while getting cinematic footage left and right. Freewell also makes a set of variable NDs for the Mavic Air 2 for $49. This may be a good solution if you only need ND filtration and no polarization. Just keep in mind that you still have to land to make adjustments, and even though you save some time because you don't have to swap filters, you may lose a little bit of image quality. Think zooms versus primes. If you think the price tag of $129 for the all-day 8-pack is too high, fear not. You can instead get the Freewell Bright Day 4-pack, where you only get the 4 hybrids, 8, 16, 32, and 64 for $69. Or if you prefer, the Freewell Standard Day 4-pack, where you get the circular polarizer and the 3 solid NDs, 4, 8, and 16 for the same price. There's also a budget kit that comes with 6 filters for $69. In that package, you get the circular polarizer, NDs 4, 8, and 16, and 2 hybrid filters, 32 and 64. Overall, I'm very happy with Freewell and their filters. I also have the variable ND for regular cameras, which I will be reviewing in a future episode. By the way, Polo Pro makes a similar product and I hear good things about them. Do you have any experience with Polo Pro? Do you have any experience with Freewell? Let me know in the comments below, but I'll catch you when I catch you.